Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about some things that you should be thinking about before you come to Korea. I had a few people DM me on Instagram and leave some comments and ask me if I could make a video about kind of getting settled and getting started when you're in Korea. And a lot of that has to do with what you do before you come to Korea. So I know that this will probably be a little bit useful to those that are applying for the fall 2019 intake, since I think you all are coming in like a month or two or something, so that's really soon. I know this time is a little bit hectic because you're packing, you're finalizing things with back home, your family, your friends, all that kind of stuff. So these are things that you definitely want to be thinking about, especially before you leave, because it's a lot harder to do them while you're here in Korea. So if you are interested in what I have to say and the things that I think that you should be mindful of, then keep on watching. Some of the things that we're going to be talking about today are your phone, your ARC, your alien registration card, exchanging money, banking in Korea, vaccines. And we'll also be talking about some other things that you should probably do before you come, but they're not really required or mandatory, but just things that I think are really important that you should think about. So first, phones. So when it comes to dealing with your phone, when it comes to moving to Korea, there are two major routes that people take. Either one, bring an unlocked cell phone, which it can be any phone as long as it's unlocked, or two, buy a new phone when you get here in Korea. So for me, when I came here, I had an iPhone 6s and it was unlocked. I bought it from Apple unlocked because I knew I'm going to use this when I come to Korea. When I got to Korea, a country that I've never been to, I slightly understand the language. I stick out like a sore thumb. I needed my phone to use the maps and how to figure out where I'm going, the subways, everything. And my phone would die every 15-20 minutes. And it honestly really scared me. It scared me because what if I got lost and I couldn't contact anyone because my phone was dead, even if I charged it? So I decided to just buy a new phone while I was here, and I bought the iPhone XR, which is what I'm using right now. I will say that cell phones are a lot more expensive here in Korea compared to in the United States. That's one downside. The other downside is that when you buy a cell phone here in Korea, they automatically come with the shutter sound, a permanent shutter sound. So if I were to take a picture with my phone, even if my ringer is off, if it's on silent, if the volume is on the lowest, it will still make a shutter sound no matter what I try. There are apps that you can use that kind of hide the shutter sound. So if you want to take a selfie or a picture in public, then you won't be really obnoxious and loud and obvious. But another hack is if you have an iPhone, you can put your phone on the live setting. When you take a picture, it won't make a shutter, it'll just make a boop. When I take pictures, I usually take pictures on the live setting, so then I don't have the shutter sound all the time. In Korea, there are three major phone companies: KT Olay, SKT, and LG U+. Personally, I don't think it really matters which one you use. I have KT Olay. It's kind of the same as SKT. When it comes to phone plans, it just depends on you and what you know you need. So for me, I need data. I need unlimited data. I don't care really about international calls and international texting because I can use WhatsApp, I can use iMessage, I can use all those apps to talk to my family and friends back at home and to call them. So I don't really need international calling, but I do need data. For the most part, with phone data plans, all the plans are unlimited data. And you might be thinking, why have different plans if all of them are unlimited data? And the reason is because Korea has one of the fastest internet speeds in the world, which means that Koreans are used to super fast, like super fast speed internet. And so the difference in all of these data plans is how much of the fastest speed you have each month. So for me, I have 3 gigabytes of the super fast speed. I'm not using technical terms, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So I have 3 gigabytes of the super fast speed, and once that runs out every month, I have unlimited data, but it's a slower speed. And to me, there honestly isn't really a difference. I guess because in the United States, we're not used to this super fast speed. So I pay the cheapest amount possible, one, because I'm already paying for this phone for the next 2 years. Like, I don't need to pay $100 just for data and then another extra $80-90 for my phone every single month. My recommendation is to get the lowest plan possible, just because after you run out of that 3 gigabytes of super fast data, you're still gonna have unlimited data no matter what. So no matter what, you are going to have data. You will never be without data. It's just after the 3 gigabytes runs out, then you'll just be on a slower speed, which honestly, it doesn't really feel that different. If you are coming to Korea just to travel, or if you know that you won't be able to get a phone plan for quite a bit of time, so for example, if you don't have your alien registration card, then you can't get a phone plan. You can't get a phone plan until you get that. So what I suggest is getting a 30-day unlimited SIM card. These are just purely for data, and it's unlimited data at the fastest speed for 30 days. You can pick it up at the Incheon airport, you can pick it up in the Busan airport, you can pick it up in Hongdae, I believe. Depending on the site that you use, they have different location areas that you can pick it up. And yeah, I definitely absolutely recommend you to do this, especially if you are an incoming teacher and you know that you won't be getting your alien registration card for about a month, because that is about how long it will take for you to get that alien registration card. If you are in your school and your school doesn't give you the Wi-Fi password, then you're just going to be sitting there, no internet, no data. Yeah, so I definitely suggest getting a 30-day SIM card. I will leave a link in the description box to the one that I use, but there are tons of them that you can use. And you can also get one at the airport the day of, but it is a lot more expensive, like about $20 more expensive than what you would pay online. So yeah, you should definitely reserve it and buy it online, and then just pick it up at the airport when you arrive. The next topic is vaccines. When you are traveling to Korea, there aren't any required vaccines, but there are only recommended ones. So the CDC recommends hepatitis A, hepatitis B, the DTP vaccine, and the MMR vaccine, which is for measles and mumps and things like that. So you should probably, hopefully, already have these vaccines from when you were a child. I would hope you do. If you do, then you don't really need to pay for any other vaccines. People do mention the Japanese encephalitis vaccine if you're going to be living in a rural area and if you know that you'll be traveling to Japan. From what I've gotten from other teachers and from my own pediatrician before I left to Korea, it's not really necessary unless you just know you're gonna be like deep in the jungle kind of thing. You probably won't be, I hope. So yeah, I didn't get the Japanese encephalitis or the rabies vaccine just because I didn't feel like I needed it. And I actually just went to Japan like 2 weeks ago. I didn't die. I'm still here. So yeah, I don't think you really need it, but if you do want to take precautions and just get it just to be safe, then you totally can. It is pretty expensive in the United States. I think it's a lot cheaper to get it here in Korea when you're here, but honestly, you don't really need it. The next topic is about exchanging money. So when it comes to exchanging money, at least in my experience coming from the United States, I think it's a lot better exchanging your money in Korea rather than in the United States. I think for some people that might seem really scary, like you're landing in Korea, you don't know anything, you don't know the language, you've never been here before, you're in a huge airport that you've never been to, and you don't have any won, you don't have the currency that is used in Korea. Like all you have is dollars. Like I can't do anything, I can't get anything. Like what do I do? Honestly, do not worry. There are so many banks and money exchanging counters in the Incheon airport. And I know for some people they might think, am I getting ripped off if I exchange my money in the airport versus in a bank in the city or like a counter or something? And from my experience, when I exchanged my money when I came here, the exchange rate was pretty much like the same. Like I wasn't being ripped off or anything compared to when I went out into Seoul and went to an exchange booth. So in Seoul, I believe Myeongdong is where most of the exchange rates with the best rates are, but it was basically like the same thing as in the airport. So if you want, you could do half in the airport, half in Myeongdong, or you could just do all of it in the airport, just so you know that you have your money and you're set. EPIK also recommends you to bring about $1,000 for your first month, especially since you won't be paid until the end of your first month. So yeah, you definitely want to bring enough money. I don't think $1,000 is necessary. I think you could definitely live off of less than $1,000. But if you do want to bring that $1,000 just to be safe, just to be sure that, you know, I'm good, just in case something happens, then you definitely should if you can. So for me, I graduated in December, 2 months before I came to Korea. And yeah, I broke college student. Like I did not have $1,000 just lying around. And if I did, then I needed to use it for my flight, or I needed to use it for luggage or the things that I wanted to pack or different things like that. So yeah, $1,000 is definitely not doable for everyone, but if it is possible, then you totally should bring it. But yeah, you don't need $1,000 to live for a month in Korea, especially if you know how to budget wisely and not spend on every little cute thing that you see or eating out all the time. It's definitely doable on less than $1,000. Also, I don't see the point in keeping dollars. If I know I'm gonna be in Korea for a year or maybe even more, like why do I want to keep dollars lying around? Personally, that's just my thought process. So talking about exchanging money leads into banking. This is something that I think makes a lot of people nervous and stressed out, because it definitely can be stressing, especially here in Korea. I feel like they make banking so complicated. It does not need to be as complicated as it is here. I will do my best to hopefully break it down to you and explain things a little bit, so it makes a little bit more sense to you when you come here, so you're not so overwhelmed. So when it comes to banking in Korea, there are plenty of banks to choose from. The issue is where you are placed. So if you are in a major city, then you have access to all of the banks that you want. KB Hana, KB, Woody, Shinhan, NH Bank, the post office. You have an unlimited plethora of banks to choose from. If you are in a smaller city or province, then you still have a lot of options to choose from, but it's definitely not as many as would be if you were in Seoul. If you are in a rural area, you are probably very, very limited in the banks that you can choose. So banking can definitely be stressful depending on where you are located. Some schools and offices of education use certain banks. So for example, here in Sejong, the Sejong Office of Education, and basically all of Sejong in general, pretty much goes with NH Bank. So NH Bank, I've noticed, kind of works in partnership with a lot of the different businesses here in Sejong. For example, Hanamart, which is a local grocery store, NH. You see NH everywhere. And it's not a bad thing, but it is kind of annoying, at least for me, because I don't use NH. So when we arrived to Sejong with our coordinator, we were taken to the NH Bank to open up an account. So we opened up a checkings account, and we also opened up a remittance account, which is so that you can send money home. Before coming to Korea, I already did my research, and I knew that I didn't really want to go with NH Bank, but our coordinator did tell us that the schools use NH for paying your salary and things like that. So she did let me know that if I speak to my school and they tell me that they will allow me to use the bank that I use, then they may be able to send my salary. And they actually did. So with my school, they send my pay every month to my account, but my school has to use NH for my lunch fee. So since I eat the lunch at my school, I have to put in however much lunch is. I have to put that amount into my NH account, and then my school will just take it out of my NH account, my NH bank account. So it is just a little extra step that I have to do every month. Just remember to put my lunch fee into my NH account. But to be honest, I really don't use that bank account. If it wasn't for the lunch fee, then I would have closed the account by now. I wouldn't even have opened it. But when it comes to banking in Korea, it can definitely be stressful, especially if you are a foreigner. And even for Koreans, it is stressful. Koreans are irritated by banking themselves. You should definitely do your own research, and of course, wait until you have your placement so you can know, which bank is most preferred there, which bank your school goes with, which bank your Office of Education uses, which bank your co-teacher might take you to, because that also might be determining of where you open your account. If you're going with your co-teacher and your co-teacher's like, oh, okay, let's just go into this bank right here, you might be stuck with a bank account with the Korea post office, which honestly is kind of crap. So yeah, so the bank that I would definitely recommend is KEB Hana, and there are a few reasons why. First of all, KEB Hana is very foreigner friendly. They don't just cater to Koreans, they don't just cater to English speakers, they cater to people that speak different languages. So they have services for people that speak Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese. I even have the card right here, and I cannot read any of those languages except English. Well, I can't read that, but yeah, they definitely cater to people that speak Korean and English and other languages. They also have a service line if you are a foreigner. So if you have a problem or an issue and you want to call KEB Hana, then you can just call the foreigner service line, and they will speak English or any language that you need, and someone will speak to you in that language. So yeah, it's definitely reassuring to know that you don't have to use a Google Translate to communicate with someone, even though sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But it is really helpful when you're speaking about really important things like your bank account, and you want to be able to understand what you're saying and also understand what they're saying. Major reason why I recommend KEB Hana to all of my friends, and why I'm recommending it to you all, is that KEB Hana has locations that open on Sundays. And you might be thinking, why would I want to go to the bank on a Sunday? Like, why is that such a big deal? The reason why this is a big deal is because all of the banks in Korea, if not all, majority of the banks in Korea open and close while you are at school. For example, KEB Hana closes at 4 every single day, Monday through Friday. NH Bank closes 4:30, I believe. And so for most public school teachers, you are in school from 8:30 to 4:30. So if you are in school, how are you supposed to go to the bank if you have an issue, or if you want to open a new bank account? You have to take your own time off just to go to the bank. And if you are not approved for that time off, then what are you supposed to do? Exactly. KEB Hana is definitely the only bank in Korea that opens on a Sunday. KEB Hana is the only bank that I'm aware of so far that has all of these services that are catered to foreigners. And the fact that they have locations opening on Sundays, and they continue to open more locations, because there used to be about 18 or 20, and now there's like 30 locations. I want to say 35 or 38, something like that, locations that open on Sundays. That is huge. I will leave a link in the description box to a KEB Hana post where they mentioned all of the different locations that are open on Sundays. I will say though that most of these locations are in Seoul or in Gyeonggi. They do have one in Cheonan, they have one recently opened in Gwangju, they have one in Busan, one in Daegu, and in other locations, but most of them are in Seoul and Gyeonggi-do. So yeah, you might have to take out your whole entire weekend just to do something at the bank. But hey, if that means you don't have to use one of your vacation days, then so be it, because I would rather use my weekend to make sure that my bank stuff is good and that I can communicate with someone that speaks the same language as me, instead of using a vacation day and then I can't communicate with them, and then it turns out that what I wanted to be done wasn't even done, so I have to use another vacation day just to fix it. Like, no, it could not be me. Like, no, that's not happening. So this is a great thing. This is a great thing that KB has locations that open on Sundays, but that means that not only you are the one that is going to the bank on Sunday, that means other people are going on a Sunday as well. So if you are going to a city that is very big, like Daegu, if you're going to any of the Seoul locations, you definitely want to be there early. You want to be there early. Like, I cannot stress that enough, because there are other people that want to open up bank accounts. There are other people that have issues with their bank account or whatever the case may be. So sometimes it gets crowded, it gets packed. Like, I mean, 80 to 100 people waiting there. KB Hana realizes that they have so many people waiting there because on Sundays they only open from 10 to 4. Like, when they start opening the doors, people are pushing and shoving just to get a ticket to be in line. You want to be there early, like, you want to push and shove your way to the front, like, do whatever you need to do to get that ticket and get out of there, because you will be there forever. This is legit the Hunger Games. Like, this isn't a joke. Like, you need to get that ticket and get out. The great thing about the fact that KB Hana is so foreigner friendly is that you don't necessarily need someone that speaks Korean to go with you to open your account or to do anything, because people that are going around helping people fill out their bank account forms, or if you have a question before you actually go to the teller, you can ask these people questions. From my experience, all of them speak English. All of them speak English very well. They also speak other languages. I honestly don't really have complaints about KB Hana, and this is obviously not a sponsored post or a sponsored video or anything. I just really want to share with people the most stress-free, easiest way to open up a bank account and to just not be stressed out, because for real, like, I haven't even touched the surface about banking in Korea. I just don't want people to feel as stressed as I was when I first came, because I definitely did do a lot of research. Even with all of that research, like, there still comes stresses and things like that. For myself, when I opened my account, I actually opened it with Corvia, since I applied to EPIK with Corvia. So if you are a Corvia applicant, then they will help you open up a KB Hana account and a remittance account for you to send money home. Even if I hadn't gone with Corvia, I still would have opened up the KB Hana account by myself, just because I already knew this is the bank that I want. So that is that on banking. There's, oh my gosh, there is so much more. It's so complicated. But I will say that when you are at KB Hana and you open your account, you open your remittance account, the assistants there will help you set up your internet banking. They will help you to set up your certificate for using online shopping and things like they are so nice and helpful. The last thing we are going to talk about is your alien registration card. So your alien registration card is basically like your form of ID here in Korea that basically says that you are legally here. When it comes to your alien registration card and obtaining it, it kind of depends on the Office of Education that you're working with. So when we were in orientation, before we completely left and went into our separate ways, I think it was the day before we all left, either a day or two before we all left, I know for sure Seoul, Busan had filled out their applications, or not their applications, but they pretty much signed up for a date to go to the immigration office to start their alien registration card process. So for some of them, that date was kind of soon. For some of them, that date was kind of far out. That is because those cities are really populated. It's not just EPIK teachers coming in. There's Hagwon teachers. There's people from other countries. There's people from other public school programs. So it's not just us going to the immigration office to get our alien registration cards. There's other people too. Those offices are already so busy and backed up that they needed to sign up for specific dates to get their alien registration card. I'm not sure how the process or the order of who goes on what date was picked, because that wasn't the case for Sejong. So yeah, I don't really know the details on that, but I definitely remember hearing about Seoul signing up for a date to go to the immigration office to get their alien registration card. So for Sejong, we went with our coordinator, our Office of Education coordinator, the day that we left orientation. We went to the Daejeon Office of Immigration because that is the closest immigration office to Sejong. If you don't have a photo already, like a picture to put on your application, then they do have photo booths there for you to take a picture. You fill out the application. The fee is 30,000 won. Yeah, and that's it. They give you a paper that's basically your temporary alien registration card in case you ever need to show this to anyone, which you may need to give it to your school, and it will have your alien registration number on it, so you know your alien registration number at least. And then in the mail, I got my actual card about 2 weeks later, and it was sent to my school. So from the day I got to Korea to the day I got my alien registration card was about a month. So that meant that I couldn't sign up for a phone plan, which is why I definitely recommend you to get that 30-day data SIM card if you know that you will need it. Once I got my alien registration card, I was able to connect that to my bank account. Even though I already opened one with Corvia, I was also able to get a phone plan. With applying for your alien registration card, sometimes you may even go with your co-teacher or with a co-worker. So yeah, it might not necessarily be with someone from your Office of Education. You might go with someone from your school. Some other things that I think are really important for you to think about while you are in your home country before you come or when you get here is to definitely think about filling out a tax exemption form. So if you are coming to Korea with the public school, this isn't just for EPIK, but if you are teaching in a public school, you can be tax exempt for 2 years. So you're exempt for 2 years from paying taxes to your home country and to Korea. So that means that all the money you make is yours, minus all the little fees like your lunch fee, your health insurance fee. If you are already teaching in Korea and you are like, oh my gosh, I never heard about this, why didn't anyone tell me about this? And you are with the public school, as long as you have only worked 1 year, then you can apply your next year. So this is only valid for 2 years. So if you've already worked for 2 years and you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to apply for it, and you're going on to your 3rd year, then it's already too late. I would definitely recommend filling this out before you come to Korea. I filled out the form and turned it in December, but because of the whole government shutdown, they weren't able to start working on them until after the shutdown was over. And so that really delayed the process of people getting their tax exemption forms. A good option is if you are filling out this form in the United States or in your home country and you realize, you know, I don't want them to send this form to my parents and then my parents will have to pay a ton of money just to ship me some papers. Like, you can have the IRS or whatever. I'm not sure about other countries, but this definitely works for the United States because I've done it. But with the IRS, you can call them, you can call their international line if you are here in Korea, and you can tell them, can you please ship my tax exemption papers to my address here in Korea, and they will definitely change the address and send it to you in Korea. It might take a little bit longer, but it will get to you. So I had them send it to my school instead of to my home in the United States, and my school got it, everything was good. I gave it to my school and they filled out all the paperwork for me to be tax exempt. And so yeah, for the next 2 years I will be exempt from United States taxes and taxes here in Korea. If I decide to leave my school and go to a different school, then I can just give them another copy of my tax exemption form and they will fill it out and I'll be exempt for another year. When you are filling out this form, I definitely recommend you to put more than one copy. So on the last page, it will ask you how many copies do you need. Just put that number next to the country you're going to. I would definitely recommend more than 3 copies, because if you lose one, if your school loses one, if you decide to go to another school, you can give it to them. If you have one in your luggage and for some reason your bags are lost when you get to Korea, then at least you have extras with you. So then if anything happens, you have backups just in case. The last thing that I wanted to mention that I think is really very important is something that you should do when you get here. So when you get to your school, either on your first day or your second day, I recommend asking for the school calendar. The reason why I say this is because if you have the school calendar, you know when your English camp is, you know when the summer break is, you know when the first and the last day of school is, you know when your students are on field trips and swimming classes and there are festivals and book presentations, you know all the dates. So then you cannot be hit with the Korean surprise. The Korean surprise is basically when you are told very last minute that there's a festival, all your classes are canceled, there's a field trip, 4th grade isn't coming today, they won't be coming for the whole week. So yeah, don't worry about teaching 4th grade. So then that kind of saves you the trouble of doing a whole bunch of extra work and stressing. I will say that even if you do have the school calendar, things will come up. You will still get hit with surprises and last minute things. But for the most part, you will feel a lot less stressed out when you know when things are happening. You can plan for your vacations. You know when there are holidays. You know there's no school. You know this is when I'm desk warming. You know this is when I can go on my vacation. You know this is when my English camp is, and this is when I should probably start working on planning for my English camps and then have everything prepared. For me, I'm pretty grateful that my school gave it to me the second day that I came. So without me asking, I was gonna ask anyway, but my co-teacher was like, hey, here's a school calendar, here's when your vacation is, here's when the English camp is. And that was really great because I pretty much knew already, this is when I have this holiday, this is when I have a 3-day weekend, this is when I have a 4-day weekend. So I could already start planning my vacations and things like that. If you are in a situation where your co-teacher or your school doesn't want to give you the school calendar, or they say, oh, we're still working on it, we don't have a calendar, or whatever excuse that they come up with, because I do know a few people that their co-teacher just would not give them the school calendar for whatever reason, I would recommend you to look up if your school has a website. Because if your school has a website, that means that the school calendar should be on there, and that means that parents need to know when things are. Like, parents aren't just gonna let their kid go into school and then, oh, today's a holiday. Like, no, they would be furious. So you should definitely look up and see if your school has a website, because the calendar will be on the website. Another suggestion is going into the admin office or the front office of your school, because if parents come into the school, it's most likely that they go into the front office first to do whatever they need to do. So they'll probably have school calendars there. If you are coming to Korea during the fall time, so August, September, October-ish, then that means you are in the middle of the school year, which means that there already is a school calendar. So there is no excuse that any co-teacher or co-worker could come up with saying, oh, there's no school calendar, oh, we're still working on it, oh, we're still editing it, we're still fixing it, because they've been in school for half of a semester. If you are coming in the beginning of the year, that excuse might be valid a little bit, but by the time the school year starts, at least in the middle of March, there should already be a calendar finalized and out and given to parents. Another thing that I suggest is maybe going into a coworker's classroom, because I've noticed that a lot of teachers put up the school calendar in the back of their classrooms. So in the back they might have announcements or the school lunch menu for the month, and they will probably have the calendar up somewhere as well. Another tip is if you go on the school website, you can probably find the school lunch menu. So yeah, those are all of the things that I think are really important for you to be aware of and definitely be thinking about and sorting out before you come to Korea. If there's anything that you think I missed or you think that I should talk about more or elaborate on, definitely leave me a comment. I'll definitely try to help more in the comments or make another video about whatever topic you think I should talk about. So yeah, I hope this video was really helpful. I hope it wasn't all over the place, because that's what my brain feels like right now. I hope this video was helpful to you all. I hope that it'll help make things a little bit easier before you get here. And when you do get here, I will say that it's definitely not easy, especially if you've never been to Korea before, if you don't speak Korean, or if you don't speak it well enough to completely communicate with people. It is hard. So I just hope that this is a little bit helpful and just helps you to think smarter, not harder. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!